Welcome back, Giants fans. Just thought I'd do a quick recap of the Combine today. Today, of course, the defensive linemen and linebackers were tested, and these are certainly positions that the Giants could be looking at when they select 6th overall. I think it'll either be a quarterback, a defensive end, or a middle linebacker. I think that is what we're looking at. Of course, we all know the middle linebacker I'm talking about. But there were some guys who certainly helped their draft stock today, and they may be on the Giants draft board after, and we're going to get right into it. The top 3 guys, I'll start there. I don't think any of these guys are going to be falling to the Giants. Of the 3, of course, Quinnen Williams, Bosa, and Josh Allen, I think Quinnen Williams helped his draft stock the most. He had an impressive vertical leap, but where he really impressed was the 40 time. He ran a 4.8 4.40, which is ridiculous for an interior lineman. Of course, he was a defensive end in college. Before this year, he packed on 35 pounds so he could transfer to the nose tackle spot, and that's where he really saw his draft stock soar. Going into this year, he wasn't even thought of probably as an NFL draft prospect for this year's draft, but he took off like a shooting star, and he showed why today. He ran a faster 40 time than Marcus Mariota did, for God's sakes, and that's a defensive tackle. That is ridiculous for a man his size. He's 6'3", and he weighs, I don't know, 275, whatever he weighs, but he moves, that guy. So a great combine for Quinnen Williams, and to me, he assured that he, in my opinion, is the #1 prospect in this year's draft. That's why I had him going in my first mock draft. Now, I may not have him going first in my next mock, which I should have out Tuesday, by the way, because the rumors with Kyler Murray, and Arizona loves Kyler Murray. They think he'll fit in the system. But I think Quinnen Williams is the #1 prospect in this draft. Bosa ran about a 4.8 40, but we all knew going into this draft that he was not a super athlete. He's known more for his technical skills, very smart, knows how to take advantage of his opponent's deficiencies, and of course has the lineage with his brother who's in the NFL. Josh Allen ran a 4.7 40. Not bad for a guy that weighs almost 270 pounds. And I love Josh Allen. We all know that, long arms. But I don't think any of these guys are getting to the Giants. Now, of guys that the Giants could potentially draft, Farrell had a decent combine. Didn't really blow me away, but Farrell's still certainly a guy I think the Giants are going to consider with that 6th pick. The 2 guys who jumped out to me today were Montez Sweat and Devin White. Montez Sweat, I'll start with him. His 40 time, this guy's a super athlete. And I had him going 12th to the Packers in my first mock, and I may still have him going there. I think he fits perfectly there to fill in for Clay Matthews, who I think will be left. They will let him go, the Packers, and I think he fits perfectly. If I'm a Packer fan, that's who I want with the 12th pick. But he may even move up further than that. Now, most experts had him going later in the first. They had him going mid to late first round. He's certainly going to move up mock drafts after today. And I think the Giants are going to give him a strong look. Montez Sweat fits our system. He projects as a 3-4 outside linebacker. And with that athleticism, he's a guy that I'm looking at. Another guy who I failed to mention who had a good combine as well, he ran in the mid 4.5s, and we all knew he was a super athlete, was Brian Burns of Florida State. He still projects to be a little bit of a project, but Burns is a guy I think helped his draft stock. Maybe not as much as Sweat did, but Burns is certainly going to be moving up mock drafts as well. Could be a guy the Giants look at, depending on how the interviews went and all that, and how they think he'll fit in the system. And then last but not least, Devin White, who I knew was going to run a good 40 time. He, of course, came into college as a running back. He's known for his athleticism, his side-to-side quickness. He's a hard hitter. Ran a 4.41 40. That is absurd for a middle linebacker, and it's almost just as good as Ryan Shazier did with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, of course, has sustained that horrible injury since. Shazier was a super athlete who ran, I don't know if it was at the Combine or his pro day, but I believe he ran a 4.38 40. And that's the type of linebacker I project this guy to be. A super athletic middle linebacker. Jonathan Vilma's another name that you hear that he's compared to. I think he fits that mold, but I think he hits even harder than those guys did. So I think Devin White certainly put his name in contention for the Giants to acquire with that 6th overall pick. So at this point, I think you're looking at these guys as well as a Dwayne Haskins, a Kyler Murray, and maybe even a Drew Lock. Who knows? A lot of people like the way that Drew Lock threw the ball. I was not overly impressed with his deep throw, which I thought I would be. But there you go. That's my take on today's events. Tomorrow, of course, we have the defensive backs. I'll be sure to check that out. And I'll be getting started on my mock draft tomorrow. So as always, guys, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe, drop a comment. Tell me your thoughts. What did you think about today's events? Cheers.